Here we are now shifting gears and now looking at analyzing income using absorption costing and variable costing. All right, so here we are. It says whenever the units manufactured differ from the units sold, finished goods inventory will be affected. Okay, so let's dive into that and look at what that actually means. So again, when units manufactured are the units you make is greater than the units you sell, meaning you made more than you sold, you have finished inventory, right? You have leftover inventory that you did not sell. Your inventory will increase, right? You're kind of making a storage or some kind of, you're storing all of the inventory that you did not sell. Now, the increase and decrease in income could be due to changes in inventory levels under absorption costing. Okay, and then the last part states managers and supervisors and the likes from different organizations must be careful in how they interpret the data or their income from operations under both methods, because it's very easy and very misleading to think that, oh, I manufactured more goods, therefore I have more income. So let's look at how this could be misinterpreted as operating efficiency. So we're talking about you make more than you sell, and then you have ending inventory. And when you have ending inventory, that could affect how you see or how managers see income from operation. Okay, so absorption costing at different levels of production. Okay, so here what we have is, take for example this particular this example here. So it says assume that Fran Manufacturing Company has no beginning inventory and sales are estimated to be $20,000 units at $75 per unit. Also assume that sales will not change if more than 20,000 units are manufactured. So read through that slowly again. We're saying that even if you produce more than 20,000 units, you're not going to sell any more than that. All right. So make sure you kind of get that through your mind. It says Fran's management is evaluating whether to make 20,000 units, which is proposal number 1, or 25,000 units, which is proposal number 2. The costs and expenses related to each is as follows. So they're saying using absorption costing, what is the income from operation? And then also using variable costing, what is the income from operation? Now, what you can do is go through, as practice, go through what we've done in the prior videos to show you, or go through the prior videos and just practice on how would my income from operation look given this information. So good practice. All right, so in the interest of time, what I wanted to show you is what does these numbers look like under proposal number 1 and proposal number 2. Now remember, it says your sales will not change after producing or making 20,000 units. So from here, what they're basically saying is, now the only thing that's going to be affected is your finished inventory, right? Your ending inventory. So what you can see here is under both proposals, your sales are the same, regardless of if you make 20,000 or 25,000. And now you're going through all of the steps as we've done in the prior video, calculating your cost of goods manufactured, subtracting out your ending inventory, and collecting all of the rest of the data as we go along. Now, what you will see here is under proposal number 2, compared to proposal number 1, it looks as if you have $80,000 more in inventory. I mean, $80,000 more in income from operation than in proposal number 1. Now, if I'm you, I'm thinking to myself, well, how can that be? Or that doesn't make much sense, because we know that sales is what drives income from operation. However, in both of these scenarios, sales did not change. Your sales amount did not change. Okay, and so this is why we're saying that you must be careful in how you interpret the numbers under absorption costing, because it looks as though if I make more units, I have income from operation, but that's not true. You're not even any more efficient. What's happening is your fixed cost is being spread over more units than in proposal number 1. So if I could quickly illustrate that, remember, if you can think back to our chapter 5, I believe, we talked about fixed cost. Okay, so we talked about fixed cost, right? And we kind of went through the scenario of maybe renting an Airbnb. And so the cost of that Airbnb was $4,000, right? And so if only one person was going to the vacation, right, it would cost them it would be $4,000 per person. However, if 10 people were to go on that vacation, now it would be considered $400 per person. Okay, now that's the same thing here. The number of units that we produced is changing, right? And so basically we have our fixed cost, and our fixed cost is being spread over more units in proposal number 2 than in proposal number 1, which means that our income from operation looks as though it is increasing by 80K, when really it's just because fixed cost is involved. Okay, now let me show you how this looks completely different under variable costing. Okay, so variable costing at a different level of production, we're assuming the exact same information as before. So under proposal number 1, we made 20,000 units, and proposal number 2, we made 25,000 units. Regardless of how many we sell, our level of sales will remain the same. Now, let's look at how this affects variable costing given the same information. In fact, the book went on and did you a favor and even further explained the point using another variable, which is 30,000 units. Now, regardless of how many units you produce, your sales level remain the same. So you should see $1.5 million across the screen, no matter how many units you produce. All that's left over is your ending inventory in each scenario, right? And so you go through, and as we went through in the prior videos, we go through how to set up a variable costing model, right, for your income statement. And so we do all of that. And so when you get to the very bottom, what you see is income from operation. Now, this is why this method is preferred over the absorption costing method internally, is because it does not matter how many units or finished goods that you produce, your income from operation is not swayed. It is not misinterpreted. No matter what, your income from operation only is a reflection of how much you sell and not how much you produce. Okay, so under each scenario, you're still at 200,000. You're not being, managers are not being misled, or fixed cost is not being spread out over more units. Fixed cost is a non-factor here. They're just expensing it out at the end of the period. So hopefully that kind of made a little sense. But what I really want to do is now I want to go through an example. So if you have your handout, this example will take a little bit of time to dive through, but I want to show you exactly how, if you have this as a homework problem or exam problem, how to go about solving this. Okay, so I'm going to take a break. In the next video, we're going to pick up and we're going to try to solve or prepare an income statement under both variable costing and absorption costing, given this information. Yeah.